That's okay. Just a bit of tech. There we go. I brought the mic forward a bit so I'm a bit quieter. Let's shift that round a bit. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Don't mind me if I look at that screen because I'm checking Streamlabs. I use Streamlabs to live stream. So, ding ding ding, round 2. Last night was a bit of a disaster. I hadn't live streamed for a while. But I also think that, well, I know what it is. I was lacking caffeine. I've discovered I'm a bit of a caffeine addict. Well, I used to be anyway. And long story short, I guess I am still. I do go a lot. You will notice that I pause, but that's obviously why we have the background music. Let me know if you can hear that. I've put it up to around 0.25 and I've put the microphone up to 75. There we go, 75. So yeah, didn't get out the house today as planned, but that's okay. Such is life. And clearing the throat. Anyway, just checking something. I'm not live on Twitch tonight. I think that was the other thing. Dual screening is quite stressful, so I don't think I'll be dual streaming for a while. I need to figure it out, because obviously you're trying to balance two platforms at the same time, so that's interesting, but it's a bit overwhelming. I'm sticking to YouTube for the time being because I know the platform well and it's something I'm very comfortable with. So, but as you know, or as I explained yesterday very, very roughly, I've joined Blue Sky. I left Twitter over a month ago. When the block rules came in, I decided to leave because I didn't feel safe, and that, long story short, didn't feel safe. So I decided to deactivate my account and basically move over to Blue Sky, as a lot of people seem to be doing. So I've got a nice profile. I've got 823 subscribers. Well, I'm very subscribers. That's a YouTube term. Followers, I should say. So I have to say, my growth over there as a platform user has actually been a lot faster than the other platform. I try not to use its name any longer because it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's a gone platform. You know, it was never the same since 2022. So, yeah, I decided to end my usership. I never paid for it anyway. You know, I didn't want a blue tick. I didn't care about a premium membership, considering that's the only way you got some of the bits and pieces, and there were bits and pieces to it I didn't really want, and the fact that you had to pay to get the full block system, I thought was the straw that broke the camel's back. So I decided to cut my losses and move on. And I am a lot happier over on Blue Sky. A lot happier. You know, it really makes a big difference. And yeah, so I'm just keeping an eye on my playlist, because obviously just making sure, because some of the songs I've got lyrics. It's free, royalty free music. I pay an annual subscription, and it's with Epidemic Sound, which I highly recommend. I can use the music on at least 2 individual platforms, so I use it on YouTube and Twitch, and it really is worth it. I've got so much inspiration from it. I'm not a musician, of course, but it's just so nice to have music, because if I have long pauses, which I am liable to do during these sessions, it just fills the gap. You know, there used to be long silences, and it was awkward, or it felt awkward, at least with a bit of music in the background. It might be a bit louder than I anticipated. So I'm just trying to get the balance. As I say, I use Streamlabs. I've got this annual subscription for that as well. So that really does help. If you're new here, welcome, and do say hello in the chat, because it does mean a lot to me to interact with you. So I'm just checking some other bits and pieces. Bear with me. I've got so much, you know. Anyway, so it's all going swimmingly tonight. Last night was a bit of a technical disaster, dropouts and everything, so it didn't go according to plan. But this time round, hopefully, fingers crossed, it will. I'm just thinking. See, this is the thing. I think on my feet. I don't come in with a plan. It's just like a ramble. Some might say that's not the best way to do things, but that's me. What you see is what you get. WYSIWYG. That's an old computer term. But I'm old school. Very old school. I'm 40 years old, you know. I mean, you wouldn't think. I don't feel 40. I turned 40 back in July. But yes, I'm a 1984 baby. Grew up through the 90s, of course. Entered my teenage years in 1997. So had a lot of, you know, I honestly believe I grew up in the golden age, if you can call it a golden age. You know, it was before instant streaming, it was before social media, it was before you know, a lot of things that we have today. You know, it was before smartphones. The internet was dial-up, AOL online. We had it here in Britain as well. Then we also had... what else did we have in the 90s? Very 80s, 90s track playing at the moment. I get very nostalgic. I didn't actually have a Game Boy. I was 5 years... was I 4 or 5 years old? when the Game Boy came out. I think, yeah, 1989 when the Game Boy came out, so I was 5 years old. And I didn't have a Game Boy till I was about 11 or 12. But I loved it. You know, I've got a Game Boy Pocket Color which is transparent, and I've got a Game Boy Color as well, which obviously was the first version of sort of the colour screen. So I had Pokemon Red on the Game Boy Pocket Color, and then oh, that's fine, it's okay. Then I had Pokemon Gold on Game Boy Color, and I also had the original Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, which was remade for the Switch, and I've got it on the Switch as well. And it's on the Switch. It has a very different feel. I like it, but it has a very different feel to what I remember. And obviously I've got Pokemon Scarlet, because obviously it reminds me of Pokemon Red. On the Nintendo DS I've got Black and White, and I've got Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I've got both games of each. Purely, I'm a nostalgic fool, really. I love it. I mean, I've got Lego minifigures behind the camera. I mean, this is hugely nostalgic for me. I don't know how well you'll see this on camera, but this, oh my god, when these were announced by Lego this year, well, what can I say? But Lego M-Tron minifigure. This is the 2024 version, and it's obviously got printed legs, updated, printed torso, and backpack and everything, and new helmet. However, I gave it the green visor. For a very specific reason, and I'll show you why. This is an original 1989 to 1993 Lego M-Tron minifigure with the classic smiley face. And as soon as I've got 3 of these new ones, and as soon as I got them, I rummaged through my Lego box, or my spare parts box as I like to call it, and I found the spare green visors that I have, because I knew, for pure nostalgia. See, these didn't come with the green visors, and I knew that they weren't complete without green visors. They had to have them, and all 3 of my M-Tron 2024 M-Tron minifigures, which basically are repeats of this, all resemble the 1989 to 1990. This minifigure is over 30 years old, and as I say, as soon as Lego announced that their theme was going to be space for 2024, and sorry, I'm just putting them back up on my shelf. As soon as they announced that it was going to be 2024, the year of space Lego, you should. It was incredible for me anyway, because I am purely nostalgic. Bravo Lego, bravo, to be honest. the way I reacted, you'd think England had won the World Cup, and I'm not even a fan of football or soccer if you're American. But I was ridiculously happy, because it was my childhood, and it came. I felt like it was meant to be. I mean, I think it was around 2016 or 2017 that I actually Matthew Ashton, the head of Lego Design, had a Instagram post where you could ask him anything, and I actually asked him if Mtron would ever come back, and he was very cagey. He said never say never, but I can't say anything. So I thought, okay, and considering this was 7 or 8 years ago, that they must design these things so far ahead. They must have an idea in advance about what they want to do. And yeah, wow, blew my mind to think that. I just hope that they bring back the full range of Lego Mtron. That would be superb, because it would be a huge nostalgia trip. And of course I've got this is the new Blacktron 2 minifigures. I've got a couple of these. Obviously they call these the Blacktron Mutant. It's got 2 arms and mutated face, but because they've always been the enemy of Mtron, or they were. Oh, he's not standing properly. They were always the rivals to Mtron. Oh no, I've knocked him down. I'll pick him up later. But that's an original 30 plus year old Blacktron 2 minifigure. You can tell because it's got the classic smiley face. Just popping back up on my shelf. As I say, I'll pick up the other minifigure later. He's only behind my screen, so that's okay. It's not like he's on the floor or anything. But I love nostalgia. I'm a Power Rangers fan. I'm first generation Power Rangers, 1993. Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger of 1992 was adapted to Power Rangers, so that was where I discovered Super Sentai and the weird thing is I don't speak a word of Japanese. When I watched it online, I have to have subtitles because I don't speak a word of Japanese, but I haven't got Boom Ranger, I think that's what the new one's called, but I've got all the theme songs going back to Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger from 1975. So, I've got the Kamen Rider theme songs going back to 1971, which are very entertaining as well. But I just love anything Japanese, even though I don't speak the language. I adore the culture, the anime, Super Sentai. What else? Well, obviously Kamen Rider. My goal in life one day is to visit Tokyo. I doubt that'll ever happen, but if I could visit Tokyo, Kyoto, all the tourist places, that would be a dream come true. But life doesn't work that way. life doesn't work that way, but you can dream. You can dream. What else? Hopefully going to expand my Funko Pop figures. I've got quite a few. I need to list them actually because I've got so many that I want to make sure they're all listed. And I usually get at least one for Christmas. I've got a few Star Wars, a couple of Jurassic World, a couple of Power Rangers, all the Overwatch, a couple of Pokemon. No, I've got Mewtwo. What else have I got? Mortal Kombat, Skyrim, Fallout, Deadpool as Bob Ross, Weird Al Yankovic, Tom Servo. So I've got quite a collection. Hopefully I'll get them on display one day that you can actually see behind me on screen, because I think that would be fun. There's a lot of things I want to put on display behind me, but at the moment it's all bookcases. 2025 could be when that all changes, but you'll have to watch this space. There's nothing guaranteed yet. So hopefully in the new, in next year, things will be upgraded, be improved, shall we say. There's so much I want to do, there's so much I want to achieve next year. Yeah, I feel better than I did yesterday, and as I say, things didn't go according to plan. There was too many technical errors. So I've been sort of working on my novel. I'm about to start writing chapter 47. I'm 500 and I think I'm at exactly 540 pages in. I will have to double check. I'm just opening it up now because obviously I can check it on the screen. I won't show it to you because I don't want to. Yeah, I'm 540 pages in and I've just finished chapter 46, so I'll be writing chapter 4. I don't quite know how many chapters it's going to have. I'm getting into sort of the final phases of writing it, but I don't think I want to make it too much longer. It is set in my fantasy universe, the Lord of War and Heartache, and it does feature Maximus Volkov, which of course you'll know is my username. He's one of my favourite characters. He's kind of inspired by myself. I know that's a bit egotistical, but I've always wanted to sort of create a character that is based on me but not based on me. He's like the complete opposite of me personality wise, plus he's got a Bristolian accent, so he talks a bit like that. He talks a bit like that, but obviously deeper, because I use Audacity to alter the pitch of my voice, because if you hear my voice now, it's not exactly I can't get it to go any deeper than it already is, so I have to rely on editing software. Same with Lord Volkov, same with General Jericho. I do alter the pitch of my voice slightly for characters like Trajan and Garen, and of course Geoffrey of Trigon. But apart from that, I don't think I've really had a character that's actually used my real voice. Might be the head of the diplomatic office. I think he said Diplodocus. Diplodocus. Dear oh dear oh dear. I've got dinosaurs on the brain. I may be 40 years old, but I love dinosaurs. So. Natural History Museum in London. Ooh. I went to the Cardiff National Museum about 2-3 weeks ago. I was on holiday in South Wales for the first time. I've been to Cardiff, but I never did the museum, and did the world, what they call the World Gallery, which for some reason the Natural History Gallery is still not open, but the sort of prehistory gallery, from the creation of the earth to sort of the modern era, though they don't go into our era, is fascinating. I mean, the number of fossils they've got. I mean, I actually saw the fossil of a sea scorpion, which I've never seen before but always wanted to see, so I was really happy to see that. I think sea scorpions come from they certainly come from the Paleozoic era. Yeah, I think they come from the Paleozoic era, but I think they come from, they're either Precambrian or Cambrian. But I mean, I could go on about that all day. Not that I'm an expert or anything. I just love anything about sort of prehistoric animals, shall we say. The mammoth. That's the other thing I did. I did the Royal Mint, where they make the coins of Great Britain, but they don't just make coins for Great Britain, they make coins for all over the world. The Royal Mint even produces coins for countries like Spain, Switzerland, Malta, Argentina, Egypt. Where else? Obviously not America, because they have America apparently have 4 coin mints, which is incredible. But they mint their own coins. I don't know why it's called a mint though. They didn't exactly explain where the name mint comes from. I must research that, because I think that would be fascinating to find out. I have got a book about the Royal Mint. Everywhere I go, I buy a guidebook. You know, I love me guidebooks. I should say my guidebooks, not me guidebooks. That's very lazy talking. And it really does add to the experience. You know, it gives you the history of what you're visiting. I mean, I've got a load of castle guidebooks, which I bought at Caerphilly. I didn't do all the castles in South Wales, but I bought all the guidebooks because they just fascinate me. And if I go back to South Wales, which I'd like to do, I can read up on the places in advance. You know, I can get to know them before I even go. You know, and that's how I like to do things. But Caerphilly Castle in South Wales is definitely a castle that's been on my list for a very long time. Yeah, I've always wanted to visit that one. It's fascinating. And where else did I go? I did the caves, the National Show caves, which the only one I didn't do was the Bone Caves, because you have to go through a very narrow, very low tunnel. I went with my family, my parents and my sister, and my parents had been to South Wales before, and we decided to go back. In fact, we went the last week of October. We went Halloween week. We went on the 26th of October and came back on the 2nd of November, which was nice. Did a couple of National Trust properties. I'm a volunteer for the National Trust, and I love being a volunteer. It's I've learned so much volunteering for the National Trust. I volunteer at one of their historical houses. I'm a room guide, so I get to talk to a lot of people, and I don't know why, but I'm better talking to people live, face to face, than I am talking to a camera. But I'm very good at memorizing. Get it right. Memorizing facts and dates, so it's like second nature to me. History's always been one of my passions, and it really does. I'm just going to do something quick. There we go. Just wanted to get that done. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, I'm a volunteer, and I sort of talk to the public. I interact with the public, and I love it. If I could do it as a job, I would, because I feel comfortable there. I mean, I couldn't work in a shop dealing with the public. I certainly can't. I'm autistic, so I struggle with dealing with angry customers. But when you're divulging facts and dates, it's so different, because people actually show genuine interest when you talk to them, and it really does make a huge difference for me anyway, and I really enjoy it. It gives me purpose. As I say, if I could do it as a job, I would, because I'm still learning. There's still things I'm learning, because you can't know it all overnight. You can't have the facts. Unfortunately, each room we're in has a room guide. No, I'm the room guide. A room guide's book that allows me to double check facts and dates, and that makes a huge difference, because you're not always going to get it right. You're not always going to get it accurate. And the nice thing is, all the room guides help each other. So if I do make a mistake in what I'm saying, they don't exactly correct you, but they do join in the conversation, and they help to enhance the conversation, because obviously there's a lot more experienced room guides where I am, and it really, really, really is such a nice environment. Everyone's friendly, supportive. We all do things for each other. When I say do things for each other, I mean, we all help each other with facts and figures and knowledge. We all impart knowledge onto each other, which really makes a big difference, because what I don't know, someone else will know. And, yeah. Take a breather. That sounded good. That sounded good through the microphone and the headphones. Nearly just blew my ears off with the music. But as I say, the link to the music, or the website where the music comes from, is in the chat. So, I have a very eclectic taste in music, to be honest with you. from rock to metal to jazz. I have a playlist from all the music from Fallout, not just the video games, the TV series as well. But I've actually created that playlist through sources. They've never actually released an album for Fallout, for any of the Fallout music, so it's just music I've accumulated through CDs that I've rented from the library and other things like that. I mean, music wise, I also like, if you've never heard of this artist, I highly recommend the Fat Rat. His music is so good, you know, it really is original, creative. And another one who is active on YouTube is Melody Sheep. That's it, Melody Sheep. And he did a range of tracks called the Symphony of Science. But he's also done music involving Bob Ross, Mr. Rogers, Steve Irwin, and he takes clips from TV and he audio tunes them. I think that's what it's called. Audio tunes? Auto tunes. And then he sets them to music. And it's amazing. It's really amazing. I won't play any now. But if you get the opportunity, please check these artists out, because they are so good. And the Fat Rat definitely has albums available. I mean, most of my music came through Bandcamp, Spotify, things like that. I mean, obviously with Spotify you can't... Come to think of it, have I ever used Spotify? No, it wasn't Spotify. I've never used Spotify. I tell a lie. I've never used Spotify. Why did I think I had a Spotify? I think it's because I've considered using it, but I've got a Sony Walkman MP3 player. This is basically... I used to have an iPod, and then Apple killed the 180 gigabyte. I can't say gigabyte. Not going to be able to talk. Yeah, I had a 180 gigabyte iPod, and then Apple killed it. I complained, and they told me I had to buy, if I wanted to use my... Basically, I think I had a month's worth of music, or 3 months worth of music and audio, and they told me if I wanted to put it on an iPod, I had to buy at least 5 32 gigabyte iPods, and I was furious because that would have been so expensive. I had an iPhone as well, and as soon as my contract with O2 changed, I'm not with O2 anymore. I used to be with 3 as well, but I'm not with those providers anymore. I won't say where I'm with, but I mean, they were okay. 3 was better than O2, but that's just my experience. But I went from iPhone to Android, and I've never looked back. I'm currently on a Samsung. I think it's called a 14A. It's not a Galaxy. It's one of their more... I'd love a Galaxy though. One day, again, like the Japan journey or trip, I can dream. You know, I'm grateful to have a mobile phone that gives me access to social media, you know, all my platforms. So it really makes a huge difference. And you know, that's better. Yeah, that's fine. Isn't it amazing how the My hair's sticking up because of my headphones. Embarrassing. Such is life seems to be my go-to phrase, you know. I think it comes from Fallout 2. Such is life. To create a third, you will need both Brock flower and Xander root for the healing powder. That was Sulik, the healer, in Fallout 2. You'll discover that I'm a huge Fallout fan. I actually started playing the first game in 1997, and then obviously the second game came out a year later. That's how quickly in the 90s games used to come out. They actually came out a year later because obviously they didn't have all these DLCs, or you didn't get open world sandbox worlds. That didn't start until GTA 3, which came out, I think, around the year 2000, 2001. I actually got into GTA through GTA Vice City, I think. Yeah, I mean, Elder Scrolls I got into through Skyrim. I bought it on a whim and fell in love with the game because I love dragons. However, in Skyrim, they're not true dragons. They're wyvern. They call them dragons, but they're actually wyvern because their forearms are their wings. So I've always had that. True dragons, their wings are on their back and they've got 4 legs. But I have kind of moaned about that on social media in the past, but I can't fault the game. Skyrim is one of my all-time favourite games, as is Fallout 4. I know Fallout 4 has its faults, but I finally modded it to the point that it doesn't crash. I found all the right balanced mods, and it's even better than it was, than I remember. It is updated regularly. Fallout 76, I tried playing on the PS4, and it was not long after it came out, so there was nothing. I kind of gave up on it. I also used to play Overwatch on the PS4, but I kind of gave up on that as well. I'm much more attuned to the PC. I love Sims 4. Sims 4 is my escape game, as I like to call it, because it's so relaxing to build a house, to decorate a house, you know, because you just think where you're going to put the furniture. I mean, it has set rooms, it has built rooms, and most often I do the built rooms, but then I rearrange them, I adapt them, I make them bigger, I add things, I redecorate them, and it's a lot of creative fun. And I have all the add-on packs, the expansion packs, the add-on, you know, all the other bits and pieces as well, because it makes it feel like a complete game. It really does make it feel like a complete game, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And I've been playing it. I kind of did start with the first Sims and worked my way through Sims 2, 3 and then 4. And of course I discovered the modding community, so I've used mods in the past. But since they updated it, the mods haven't worked as intended, shall we say. They seem to cause more problems for the game than actually expand the game. But that's okay, because they're actually expanding the game through these new add-ons and expansions. So swings and roundabouts, swings and roundabouts. Hello, what's that? No, That's fine. Thought it was something important, but it's just spam text. Sometimes I get these spam texts and they are so... It makes me laugh because a lot of them are scams that say something along the lines of, oh, your car insurance is... your car will be towed because you have no car insurance, or what's the other one? Your parking fines have not been paid. Well, that's a very interesting thing because I don't actually drive. I've never driven. I use what's known as Shanks's pony. I walk, although I do have trouble walking. Mainly sort of it's difficult to explain. I'm motor dyspraxic. I don't have any aids, but I'm motor dyspraxic, so my muscles are well, my leg muscles are tight, but my upper muscles are underdeveloped. It's I think it's all part and parcel of being autistic. It seems to work in the... I don't understand how it works. I mean, I was diagnosed autistic at the age of 8, with motor dyspraxia, and it's something I've lived with my entire life. But that's okay. It makes makes heavy lifting very difficult. Very uncomfortable as well. But you sort of... I've had a lot of support in life. A lot of support. It just sort of becomes a bit complicated. Sorry, my back's aching. I'm just going to take a quick break. So I'm going to leave the live stream running, and I'm going to turn the mic off. But I will be back. I'll be back, as the Terminator would say. So bear with me, and I will see you very shortly. And I'm back. Let's go live. There we go. Got another drink. And I have here a Welsh cake. Sort of like a flat scone, but yeah, well, like a flat scone, and it's delicious. I love Welsh cakes. So bear with me whilst I have a little snack. Oh. I kind of hurried along. What was I talking about? Anyway, don't you just hate it when you're in the middle of a sort of conversation and you forget what you're saying? Mind you, I do think that's mainly because I went to take a break, but I needed it. Long story short, it'll come back to me, what I'm saying, hopefully. If not, we just move on. I do beg your pardon that I've gone a bit silent. I'm kind of racking my brain as to what I was saying. What was I talking about? I think was I talking about Wales? I was talking about Wales. Well, as you know, if you're from Blue Sky, there's a lot of things that I've listed. But you know, I've really found myself over there. I really have, and I really think it makes a huge difference to be involved with that platform. It really does, and as I say, I couldn't be happier in joining. It's such a nice place to be, and if you're not on there, definitely get over there, because it's such a different environment. It's such a nice environment, and I'm followed by so many amazing people from all different walks of life and community, and it's so positive. There's more positivity over there than the other place. I can't actually bring myself to name the other place now, and that to me says a lot. It speaks volumes. If you're not comfortable naming the other place, I was talking about scam messages, wasn't I? That's what I was talking about, because obviously I get scam messages on my phone, and the irony is when they talk about parking fines and being most distracting, that's right, because I'm autistic, they sort of go together. I've masked for so long, it's masking takes a lot of energy, and I think that's what it is. Because I was forced to mask as a teenager, and it just... I think my teenage years was mainly burnout. You know, I spent most of my teenage years burnt out. And I don't know really. Maybe I still am. I don't know. How do you know? How do you know? It's difficult for me anyway. It's difficult for me anyway. But there we go. You know, it's just a part of life, or at least how I experience life. And it's... I mean, there's other things I think that factor into my mindset as well. And I have other thoughts about the way things go. Vague. That's the problem. I can be vague when I want to be. And I say want to be. I don't have to be vague. It just... Oh, the music's a bit loud. There we go. I turned up. I forgot to turn... I do beg your pardon. I forgot to turn down the music because... Let's get that down a bit more. That's embarrassing. Hopefully you could hear me talking. A bit awkward if you couldn't. At least I haven't got it on mute. So... We all make mistakes. We all drop clangers at times. Basically, we make mistakes, as I said. So... And if there's a clanger to drop, I'm going to drop it. You know, it's just a part of life. Sometimes I find myself getting distracted by other things, but you stick with it. You soldier on. But it's... Yeah, don't do that. That's weird. That is weird. Oh boy. Oh boy. I haven't had that in a long time. I have this habit of making myself laugh. I really do. I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh dear. Now where was I? What was I doing? What was I saying? And breathe. Oh yeah, I've upgraded to Warhammer: The Old World. Some might say I've downgraded or backgraded, whatever you want to call it. But I have a Warhammer Fantasy Battles Dwarf Army, and I was really pleased when they announced the Old World, because it means I can reuse my army, and because I've still got my Dwarf Army, unlike many Warhammer players when Age of Sigmar came out, I had the foresight to keep my army, and I'm very glad I did, because it means I don't have to rebuild my army from scratch. So I'm going to get the units that I haven't got, and I'm going to bolster my Troll Slayers and my am I going to make them Giant Slayers? Is it Giant Slayers? There's Troll Slayers, and you can upgrade them. I can't remember what you can upgrade them to. But either way, I'm going to expand them and make them, upgrade them. I can't remember how many points I've got. I know for a game now it's smaller armies, so, but I've got enough to create the army list that and of course I'm still working on my Imperial Guard army I'm that old school, I still call it Imperial Guard, I mean, I know it's Astra Militarum now, but I've always called it Imperial Guard because that's what it was. I mean, I started out with Space Marines, of course. Most Warhammer 40,000 beginners do, because they're like your introductory army. But I also have an Orc army. I dabbled with Chaos at one point. I do have a 5,000 point Orc army with the Stomper. And I have a work in progress Tanith First and Only stroke Vervenhive army, so that's going to be a lot. Once that's finished, not that an army's ever finished, you're sort of expanding the army all the time. But eventually I want to expand it so that it's big enough to actually be formidable on the battlefield. I want to get... I've got a Leman Russ, but something's gone wrong and the turret is stuck, so I might have to get another Leman Russ. And I've got what's annoyed me though is they got rid of not chimeras, because they're the transports, troop transports. They got rid of griffins. Is it griffins? Yeah, they got rid of the Griffin mobile mortar launchers, which was so useful, because now I think they've even got rid of field mortars as well for the heavy weapons. Yeah, it's irritating that they got rid of a lot of stuff that could have been useful in 10th edition. Hopefully in 11th edition they'll reintroduce it. But the annoying thing is it would mean getting 10th edition army books. I mean, the new edition Imperial Guard haven't even come out yet. which is I would imagine the new codex comes out when Death Corps of Krieg are introduced to the game, because they're actually getting a full army, which is quite exciting because I'd love to include a unit of them in my Tanith First and Only / Vervenhive army. Mine is actually based on Necropolis, the Gauld's Ghost novel. It's probably my favourite one. I'm not going to give anything away. If you want to read it, read it. It's really good. I think it might still be available on the Warhammer website. They used to call it Games Workshop, but it's now the online store, and the high street stores are now called Warhammer, because that's what parents called it. So because they called it Warhammer so often, they rebranded the stores. Games Workshop is the parent company, and obviously Citadel deal with the paints and the miniatures. Games Workshop, I mean, it's all one company, it's just they have different brands for different things. It gets so confusing now, but yeah, it's a good hobby. I love it. Building, painting. I like kit bashing. If you don't know what kit bashing is, it's purchasing multiple kits and building them as one kit. You know, it can really make some unique units, and it's so fascinating to do. I can't remember when I started doing it. I think it was with my orcs, because orcs are a anything goes sort of army, and you know, it made for some unique units. Yeah, because I made a war boss, a kit bashed war boss for my orc army. One of the few characters I don't have is Ghazghkull Maguruk Thraka, who is the biggest, meanest orc war boss. If you're familiar with Warhammer 40,000, you'll be familiar with the War for Armageddon, and hopefully there will be evidence that Commissar Yarrick is not dead. There's talk that Commissar Yarrick is dead, but I honestly don't believe he's dead. It would be fantastic if he came back in the new codex alive and well, because it would spell not disaster for the orcs, but it would mean that they've got a real problem on their hands. And it would be nice to include Yarrick in my army with Commissar Gorn, Colonel Commissar Ibram Gorn. So here's to that. But there's so much I want to do next year. There's so much I want to complete and achieve, shall we say. There's a lot I want to achieve. Whether or not I do, I don't make New Year's resolutions. I honestly don't believe in New Year's resolutions, because if you make them, chances are you're never going to keep them, and you're never going to complete them. So I decided not to make them in the end, because what's the point? I mean, granted, some people do manage to stick to them, and I congratulate them for doing so, but in all honesty, for me personally, it's pointless. absolutely pointless. It just doesn't. It just doesn't work for me. And I've, you know, I don't know. But to be honest, yeah, they. I won't call them a waste of time, because if you make them and you manage to achieve them, then, you know, good on you. But I have enough trouble as it is sticking with other things in life, and that's no fault of my own. Let me sit up because I've just. There we go. A Star Wars T-shirt. You know, it's. Yeah, personally, I don't hold with them. But how long have we been going for? Blimey, 1 hour, 21 minutes and 50 seconds. Sorry, I'm a little bunged up at the moment. I'm sorry, I think I have a cold. Maybe I don't. I think it's my sinuses, to be honest. If I get a bit snuffly, I do apologise. Well, I am a bit snuffly. And, yes. But, such is life, as I've said before. I probably overuse that phrase a lot, but, you know, swings and roundabouts. It's just the way it is, really. You know, I do what I do. You know, I enjoy what I do. I mean, I'm a content creator. I'm a YouTuber. You know, I have Twitch. Not that I'm live on Twitch this evening, because I think sometimes it's a bit overwhelming to do two platforms. I said that at the very beginning of this live stream. Sometimes it's too overwhelming and it becomes a bit complicated because you're trying to do two platforms at once. But at the same time, it can also be very fulfilling. It sort of, you know, and these become a bit of a vlog as well, or even a bit of a, I won't say podcast, I think that's the wrong term, but definitely a vlog which people can watch back and enjoy, and hopefully they do enjoy them. I mean, some of these do get a bit long and a bit convoluted, but as I said earlier as well, what you see is what you get, and I just go with the flow, really. I mean, I don't have a major plan. I don't have a scheme. I just wing it. You know, I'm very good at winging it. That's such a strange term. I bet it's to do with Daedalus and Icarus from Greek mythology. I very much doubt it, but who knows? Who knows? Who cares? You know, it's just another word in the English, another phrase in the English language, and it becomes, you know, it's something perhaps one day I'll research and build upon. Slight pause there as I was sorting something out. A message came up on my screen as per Microsoft. As I say, I have nothing to do with Apple ever since they did me over with the iPod, you know, and the iPhone. I had an iPhone 5, and that's how long ago I had an iPhone. I had an iPhone 5, and it had a Star Wars Stormtrooper case, a rubber. Is it rubber or latex? Might have been both, because they sort of contain. I can't remember. It was so long ago now. But but anyway, you know, obviously I've got my Samsung now, and it makes a big difference. I love it. As I said before, I love it. But there's I mean, I've got all my apps on there, you know, Blue Sky, Discord. I am on Discord, by the way. If you ever want to join my Discord, I will set that up, because anyone who watches this back, and if you get this far, congratulations. I am a rambler, not literally a rambler in the sense of, you know, talking, but I will put a invite to my server in the. Oh no, I don't want to boost my server, and I close Discord. Escape. There we go. Escape. Invite people. There we go. So what I will do is I will pop that in the chat. So if anyone's watching back, you have the option to join. A good glass of own brand cola. I'm not going to say the supermarket, but it was own brand cola. It wasn't. Although it tastes like the popular brand that isn't the leading popular brand, shall we say. Although I think both brands are leading in a way. You either prefer one or the other, and I like the other one more than the one that a lot of people go to. He says being vague, because obviously I don't get sponsorships. But it's funny, I was talking to a friend online about monetization, and from what I've worked out, it's not worth it, because you have to fill out forms, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to worry about taxes and things like that. It's not worth it. It's not worth the stress, and I've got enough on my plate to deal with. Although I'm very fortunate, you know, there's a lot of people that aren't that sort of, I won't say well off, but aren't as fortunate to. I still live at home, basically, so at least I've got a roof over my head. But I am, you know, I'm not at all ashamed to say that at all. You know, there's a lot of people in my position where they still live at home, and that's okay. That is okay. It makes, you know, it's just the way it is in this day and age. I mean, the house prices in Great Britain are. He says try to choose his words carefully, because obviously I try not to curse on online, if I can help it, are shocking, absolutely shocking, shall we say. And you know, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. The way things have been, I've never been able to afford to move out because it's just so blooming expensive. It's stupid, really. But at least I've got a roof over my head. That's the important thing. You know, I'm grateful for that. I am very grateful for that. As I say, there's not a lot of people who have that sort of position. You know, I'll sort that out later. Sorry, there's a little piece of Lego that's annoying me. I don't really want to sort it out on camera. There's something else I want to do with it, but the way I will sort it out is not the conventional way, shall we say, and I don't think people want to see, you know, I suppose I could, basically, I have this habit of using my teeth to, oh, it's not what I thought it was. It isn't what I thought it was. That's fine. Yeah, I've got this terrible habit of using my teeth to separate Lego. It goes back to my younger days, you know. I've got separators and things like that, but yeah, it's not the most... It's not recommended. Absolutely not recommended. Don't do it. It's a bad habit. Very bad habit. So sometimes old habits die hard, and it can be a bit unfortunate. You know, it's yeah. But you know, we all have these little quirks in life. You just sort of get on with it, really. Okay. There was other things as well. Oh yeah. I posted something up on Blue Sky because I'm interested in the paranormal. I actually had a paranormal experience at the age of 12, and I was on holiday in Shropshire, and I visited a place called Buildwas Abbey, and I saw what I can only describe as a figure dressed from head to toe in black disappear behind a pillar, and I couldn't find them. I actually went searching for them, and I could not find them at all. And to this day, I actually believe I saw the ghost of a monk. Let's say it's something I couldn't really explain. I mean, I'm a believer. I am a believer. I watch paranormal channels on YouTube, and I did ask people to give me their recommendations on Blue Sky, so hopefully I will get some. And I did say people can recommend their own channels, because you know, I'm fascinated by that thing. I've got books on the subject. You know, I've even met Richard Felix, formerly of Most Haunted. He was their resident historian during their early years, and he was a lovely bloke to meet. Really knowledgeable. I mean, he's a historian, but Derby Jail was fascinating. He actually sort of opened up the jail for us to have a look around. He wasn't sort of... And we must have talked for ages about ghosts. We weren't the only people present there, of course. I'm not talking about ghosts. I'm talking about other paranormal enthusiasts, and he was a lovely guy to meet. It was 2004 I met him, so 20 years ago. But yeah, I've had numerous paranormal experiences in my time, and it's strange. It's a strange experience to have. You could even say bizarre. It's I've seen things, I've heard things. It's so strange. It is so strange, but it's not scary. I mean, I've heard people say that, oh, I mean, it's never been said to me, but I've heard people say that other people have said, oh, to them, oh, are you afraid of ghosts? And they say, no, I'm more afraid of the living. And I guess to a degree that's kind of true, even for me, but sometimes that's also a bit unfair, Sometimes that is also a bit unfair, because I know a lot of people who are good people, so I withhold that thought. But it becomes something else, really. Yeah. Well, to be honest, I think I've said everything I need to say, really. I mean, I went longer than I did the other night, yesterday, so that's fine. Obviously, I've got all my stuff on Blue Sky. I will post my Blue Sky social in the chat as well, so I'll do that as an ending thing. So if you're interested, and there is a link to that on my YouTube channel as well, or there should be. I've updated it recently to get rid of. Yes, I have. It's the first link directly, because I got rid of my other platform, as you know, I said that at the beginning. So makes a big change. But yeah, so I'm going to end this I nearly called it a podcast. I guess it is in a way. Very sporadic, very unplanned. I don't really plan anything in advance. So you never know, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what you're going to get. But this is just me, I'm just a regular chap. I do what I do, live my life. Yeah, so I'll see you next time.